Welcome to Fancounters. My name's Nick.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And it's almost the 4th of July. Hard to believe we're mostly, a third of the way through the summer.
I know, this goes so fast.
Now in Milwaukee, if you haven't joined us in summer, you are missing out. We have the world's best music festival.
I believe it's billed as the world's largest music festival.
Correct. Called Summerfest. So right now, go to your computer, type summerfest.com, and see all of the amazing experiences that are happening in Milwaukee this week.
Yeah, outstanding musical talent here in town.
So get this. I'm going on July 3rd. I don't know what day of the week that is. Is that a Tuesday?
Yes.
Tuesday. I am going on Tuesday to see Steven Tyler of Aerosmith.
Yes.
Get this, America, on a free stage.
Yeah.
We have one admission price, $20 gets you into this festival. And this year on a free stage is Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. How could you not go see him?
I know.
So really excited about that show.
We will be on our Disney trip and unable to partake in Summerfest this year.
Well, you are missing out because, last year was their 50th anniversary of Summerfest. And I thought that it was going to be the best build lineup they've ever had. I didn't go. It was garbage. And I get that I'm not into a lot of these weird indie bands and, but they didn't even bring their main stage headliners. I thought they'd bring in Bruno Mars and Britney Spears and everybody at the top of their game. They had I can't even tell you, Walk the Moon or some junk like that. And it's Def Leppard. I'm like, come on, it's your 50th anniversary. But anyway, this year they upped their game. This year should have been last year.
Huh.
So yeah, Summerfest. Looking forward to that. Now, today on the program, we've got, we're going to talk a little bit about music and dance. We've got Kristin McQuaid on the show. She is one of today's hottest choreographers. For more than 15 years, Kristin McQuaid has wowed audiences as an actor, a dancer, and a choreographer, and she's just added designer to that list.
Ooh.
She's appeared in music videos with top artists like Prince, Britney Spears, Mandy Moore, and Cyndi Lauper.
Kristin's original choreography has been featured on many television shows, including So You Think You Can Dance and Dance Moms. She also was the choreography genius behind 2 videos for the season 11 winner of America's Got Talent, Grace VanderWaal. Not only will we be hearing about her stories behind her success, she'll tell us about her new clothing line, which can be previewed by visiting KRAZE.Kristen.com.
So, Elizabeth, although you're here right now, this was another show that you unfortunately weren't here for.
Yes.
So you're going to be hearing everything for the first time today.
I am.
She was awesome. She was really amazing. We talked a lot about not only her rise of her career, how she got started doing choreography, but then we talked in depth about Dance Moms.
Wow.
What her thoughts are behind the show. I'm sure if you've seen the show, you have very strong thoughts one way or another about the treatment of the kids on the show and that kind of thing. She's going to give us her insight, having worked on the show, what it was like behind the scenes. And I thought that was the most informative part of this interview. It's the one that really captivated me. So, yeah, something for you to look forward to when you take a listen. So here we go.
Here is Kristin McQuaid.
Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is Fancounters with Nick and Elizabeth on the Podfix Network.
There was this mob of people, and they're screaming my name.
Crazy fans.
Stop following me. Don't come around my house. If you do, the cops are going to be at yours.
If I'm having dinner with my wife, don't sit down at my table. Don't follow me into the bathroom.
I continually will get stopped.
Can I take a picture? We're gonna. Oh my God.
I think this guy wants to fight me. Ended up being a fan.
I'm the only one that's ever been on Sam Jackson and lived to tell about it.
That's why we call it Fancounters.
I don't think you're going to last on the air very long.
Kristin, welcome to Fancounters. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. By watching your work, it's obvious that dance is not only a passion for you, but it's a way of life. So when did you first realize that dance was always going to be a part of your life?
I actually grew up in the world of dance. My sister started dance before I did when I was younger. She started when she was 3 or 4. But then I actually didn't get into dance till I was 11, which in the dance world is actually a latecomer. Most people that are professional dancers now have started when they were 2 years old. It's crazy to think that I started that late and
Right.
I am where I am now. So it gives hope for those that start late to know not to give up.
So you grew up in Denver, right?
Yes, I grew up at Michelle Latimer Dance Academy in Denver, and she was a great outlet because she brings in so many choreographers and teachers from LA. So I got to almost experience the world of LA and the professionalism there in Denver. So I got a taste of it where I lived.
And in your teens is when you actually moved to Los Angeles with your family. Did you welcome that move? Was that something you were excited about?
Yeah, actually, my dad got transferred to Southern California. And so he obviously wanted to move to California, but I didn't really want to leave Denver. I loved my dance studio. I loved Michelle, and I grew up there. That was my home.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that was where I needed to go to pursue my dreams. But the cool part about it was that I was going to go into the High School of the Arts. So, which I was not in I was in a regular high school in Denver. So that was a cool thing to look forward to into the move. So that was one thing that I guess I could accept the move for.
So between 11 and 16, though, you're just like soaking up information because I read that you actually started choreography as a profession at 16. What was your school journey like? Were you homeschooled to finish high school or?
Well, actually, I had to finish on set. I didn't actually get to finish high school at normal school. So my junior and senior year, I actually didn't get to go to school. So I was always up in LA and working. So I actually had to school on set.
Okay.
So that was not normal for me because I was always just used to going to school. But one funny thing was that I didn't know yet that that's what I was going to do. And it had been a few months that I had not been back to my school. And I finally had been able to have time to go back to school. And I got and sat in my class and they took roll and I was like, you didn't call my name. And she was like, you're not on my list. I said, but I'm in this class. And she was like, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. I just haven't been here in like 2 months. She's like, well, you're going to need to go to the counselor's office. I was like, oh my gosh, no, I promise I'm here. So it was just funny. Like everybody just kind of wrote me off at school. So I was like, well, I guess I should just homeschool and never try and come back to school. So.
Oh man. Now, did you end up going? Oh, you did graduate high school.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then did you go on to college at all? Or at that point, did you just start working? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually knew when I was younger, school was not a thing for me. I didn't really like school. So I'm not a very good reader. I'm not good at math. I have a very hard time at school elements. And so the creativity side was definitely the route I wanted to go. So I knew from the very beginning I did not want to go to college. And so I knew that I had to try a lot harder at my profession because I knew that was really the only route that I was going to be able to go. So yeah, no, I knew from the very beginning I wasn't going to go to college.
Yeah, college for me was really tough too. In fact, like the math, when you just mentioned that, I was like, oh, I was horrible at that. My first year of college, I took an elementary algebra class because I was so far behind and I had to drop it because I was going to fail it. It was, that was horrible.
Yeah, so I just was never like, my husband is a cardiologist and like, he's just so book smart. And like, I just comes so easy for him. And then there's me, I'm just the opposite side. I'm just like the whole creative side. And it's just, I just don't understand that other side of the brain. So
I'm
hard
with you.
For me.
Now I heard you mention that you had never watched America's Got Talent until season 11. Mm-hmm. You felt a connection to Grace VanderWaal. What was it about her that was so mesmerizing to you?
You know, I honestly think I see myself in her as a younger self. It's crazy because she is a very old soul, having met her multiple times. But just seeing her for the very first time on the show, I could just tell, like, she is such an old soul. She brings in so many elements into her performance and that you just don't get that anyone else does. She digs a lot deeper into her lyrics into her playing, into her instruments, should I say. And I just love the fact that she sings, plays, and writes all of her music. To me, that honestly is a legit artist.
Especially at that young age.
I could not believe it. 12 years old on the show, she comes out with an original, and I was standing up. I was walking through the house, and I was like, what in the world? And I just, from that moment on, I've just been so drawn and inspired by this young child. And so, I just keep, every time she comes out with new music, I just am wowed. I just cannot believe. I keep thinking there's no way she can get better. And she just blows my mind every time.
Did you have an old soul as a child? Were you one of those kids?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly think too, having been grown up like around adults all the time, I didn't really have a normal childhood because I was on set all the time. I didn't really go to high school games and birthday parties and all that kind of stuff because I was always working, and I feel like I was always I just kind of had that older kind of element about me, and I still do. I kind of just have that old soul. I just love that.
Looking back, do you miss some that you didn't get some of those normal opportunities? Or, I mean, you got other opportunities, so it makes up for it. But
yeah.
Did you feel like you missed anything?
Like my husband will bring up like, oh yeah, like let's drive by my old fraternity house, or, and I'm asking him like questions about how it was, or, like what you would do. And parts of me are like, wow, like would I miss out? Would that have been something I would have liked to do? But then I look at what I got to experience, and that's something like that I don't think a lot of people can do. I mean, the people that I got to work with they're legends, and a lot of them are not even with us anymore. And that's, you can't even replace that.
No.
So, I parts of me say, yeah, maybe I would say, but I could live without it.
How did you ultimately get connected to Grace? You choreographed 2 videos to her songs, but she wasn't in them. So how did all that work out?
Well, my publicist had let me know of an event in Las Vegas for it was called One Night, and it was about getting fresh water to those in countries that aren't able to have fresh drinking water, and raising money for them. And it's a big charity event. And so I was asked to go to that event, and it was crazy because Grace was there. And at the same time, I was walking the red carpet at the same time as her. And I had gone up to her and I said, I just want to let you know that right when I go back to LA, I'm shooting a video to Light the Sky. I choreograph on So You Think You Can Dance, and all of my dancers, a lot of the dancers from that show will be in the video. And she was just like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm so excited. I love dance. This is amazing. And her manager was standing there and overheard me talking to her. And he was like, wait, what did you just say? And that's when the whole thing took off. We had a very good connection, myself and her manager. And from then on, like I just, kept on with her manager, and I knew what songs, they wanted to push for publicity. And, then Moonlight came out. Moonlight was so fun to film. So that, that's how that whole situation arose, was just that one event in Las Vegas where we just happened to be at the same event, and her manager just overheard me telling Grace, and then it just took off. So it was almost like being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I really believe in that, things that are just meant to be. People, just happening. It doesn't just happen that you are in the same place as her. Like, that was totally your calling. And that's how I kind of...
Right.
There's too many situations that happen where you have to believe there's some force at work here to bring people together.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like, I always say, like, everything happens for a reason. Like, that's one of my biggest things. And that was one of the best nights. Like, I'll never forget that. That was crazy.
You mentioned Moonlight. It's got some really complex choreography. And I was wondering, can you kind of walk us through how you help bring this video to life? Meaning, are you creating the concept behind it and the dance moves?
Yes.
Or you did the whole thing?
Yes. So I did everything from the concept to the costumes to the choreography. I did everything, to the set design, to the location. The only thing I didn't do was film and edit it.
Okay.
A lot of all the creativity work comes from me. And that's hard. A lot of choreographers don't do that. A lot of the choreographers just come in and do the dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something new for me. Basically coming up with a treatment for the video, coming up with, a storyline that was going to make sense. I wanted to make sure that I really dove deep into what Grace was wanting to portray in her song. And it's a deep song, it's really, it's not a happy song. And you would think it is because it's so upbeat. And it's something that you would want to go and dance to, but it has such a deep meaning. And I just feel like I wanted to, hit that note, but leave it in a positive note, because I myself am such a happy, quirky person, and I'm not a deep, dark sided person. So all of my videos that I've done so far have all been happy, light, and, have all ended on a positive note. And I've gotten so many compliments from that in the dance world and in the industry, because so many videos right now are just so deep and dark and grungy, and there's nothing out there right now. And honestly, the world could use a little bit more light.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I mean, it could use a lot more positivity. But, Moonlight was one of my babies. I loved it. And what was honestly hard was she already had a music video for it. So I needed to create something that wasn't the same for that. I didn't want to hit the same story.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to be anything the same. I didn't want it to be in the same setting. I didn't want anything to where her fans were like, this is kind of too similar. And I think I struck home. I think, the fans were blown away. I think Grace was blown away. Oh, I know she was. And, I think that it really, really is a great video. And it was just fun to make, making all the dresses dirty and making all the scars all over them. It was fun.
Now, do you have conversations with Grace before you do it, or is this kind of like you have carte blanche to create this as you want?
No, I just have free range of what I want to do. And then I always show Grace the video before I release it out to the public. So she has actually seen Florence, and it's releasing today. So she's seen it a week ago. And obviously no one else has seen it, but
right. Okay.
She's been the first to see it. So I always get her approval. I always want to make sure that she's happy with it, that she wants, doesn't want any changes, or that everything's approved on her side. And then I'll release it to the public.
What is the preparation time for the dancers to learn the moves and blocking to be ready, camera ready for filming? How long does that take?
You're going to think this is crazy, but, it honestly just depends on the project. So let's just take, for instance, for Moonlight. We actually rehearsed the day before for, I want to say, 6 hours, and then we shot the next day.
But did the dancers have the choreography prior to that 6-hour practice?
No.
That's amazing.
No. Yes, they learn it all on the spot. And this is just coming from their training that they get at their studio. So they're always constantly learning to pick up choreography by going to dance conventions, by going to training at their studios and picking up choreography from their teachers every week. So they're used to picking up choreography quickly. But, having work on, like, I've worked on Dance Moms, and that show I got about 4 hours with the kids, and they had to perform a compete on stage, which was only one take, not filmed. So, like for Moonlight, if we were like, oh, we don't like that take, let's do it again. This was a live taping. So we really, or not live, but really it was basically live because they're competing in front of judges, but we couldn't do it again. And so they had to have 4 hours to learn a 2-minute routine, and that's it. Then they had to go on stage.
I find that amazing.
And they're children.
Wow. Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I just did that one episode and choreographed the one dance, but I was blown away. I was just like, wow, this is not a lot of time. So, and on my side, I had to be a lot more prepared. I had to make sure that on my side, everything was organized and choreographed, pre-choreographed, so that I went in, scheduled it on them, set it out, and then it was done. That way, I'm not working things out and workshopping choreography in the room, and they're just kind of hanging out. It's a lot of pre-work on my end.
For sure, yeah, because you have to have everything down, what everyone's going to do to bring it all to life very quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
So when the shows So You Think You Can Dance and Dance Moms, which you were a part of, started to kind of pop up as part of our culture, do you remember thinking at that moment, like, I made the right decision at the right time, that this is a career that you're going to get high exposure for? Was it those shows that kind of brought that decision on your end to be, the right one for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say when I had choreography on So You Think You Can Dance, I think that was the turning point for me. I think that's when I really said, okay, wow. Okay, I really have made a name for myself, and I really I need to run with this. And that's when projects and doors just started opening for me, and I wasn't even making plans to make projects. They were just opening for me and falling into my lap. And that's, that was something that wasn't happening for me before that. So it was just such a cool experience and such a cool way of having that all pan out. And it just doesn't happen for everybody. I see so many people, especially dancers, that come out here and spend years and years and audition every single day and try and make it. And then they just fly home and they're like, well, it was just too hard. I didn't get any jobs. I just didn't get anything. And I mentor a lot of kids out here, but it's just so hard because I was just kind of almost born into it. A lot of jobs were just there for me, and so I can't really be in their shoes. Mm-hmm. So but yeah, So You Think I would say was the turning point for me for my choreography career.
But before all those dance shows, you were already on television. You were on shows like Days of Our Lives, American Dreams. So obviously dance was a passion for you, but acting as well. Have you thought about going back to more acting roles?
Yeah, actually recently I actually just posted on my Instagram. I was going through my old pictures and I found some pictures that from the film that I was doing. And I was just like, oh, I miss acting so much. And I was just like, I just might start back into it slow. Like my big thing, American Dreams was great. I did it for 4 years. It was amazing. One of my favorite shows that I did. But I love doing commercials. I love doing commercials. And so I honestly might try and get back into that world. I just miss acting. It's just so fun. And so many people are like, Kristen, you're just so funny. You're so animated, and your facial expressions, you're just so expressive. You just need to be into acting. And I'm like, well, I was.
Yeah, exactly. Been there, done that.
Long time.
Yeah.
But then my world kind of shifted, and I love what I do now. I like to be on the other side of the camera a lot, but there's part of me that still would like to be on the other side as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, and what my audience might not know is you were in a big movie. You were in a 2000 movie called Beautiful by Sally Field was the director. Minnie Driver was in the movie, and you played a beauty queen, right?
Yes.
Did you have interactions?
Pennsylvania.
Did you have interactions with Minnie Driver and Sally Field on set?
I did, actually. So on one of the scenes, it was actually trying to think. It was almost like Miss America, I would say, and we had to stand next to each other and wait for the top 10 to be called out. And Minnie Driver was standing right next to me, and she was just hilarious, and just funny. I think we were just having a really long day, and we were just sitting there. They were trying to figure out the lights, and she was like, "Do I have to stand here for this long?"
They're like, "It's Minnie."
So funny.
How big was Minnie Driver back in 2000? Because like now it would be like, isn't there a stand-in for this?
Oh my God! But she is actually almost the same. Like she was just like that.
Okay.
Actually, still on set. She was actually big still. I think she was still. I mean, I was very starstruck by her when I was there. But yeah, I mean, she's a legend, I would have to say.
I agree.
But Sally Field, oh my gosh, she is so nice.
Okay.
She is so nice. Because having watched Miss Doubtfire, I was like, I cannot wait. I love Miss Doubtfire with Sally Field. And that was really the only thing that I cared about on booking the movie. I just wanted to go find Sally Field and get a picture with her because I loved Miss Doubtfire. And everyone was like, but you're like in a movie. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. I just want to get some Sally Field. And so I went, found her, and she's just the nicest lady. So sweet. I loved her.
So you got your picture?
Yeah. I got my picture.
Is it on Instagram?
Maybe? No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, I was going to go digging.
Maybe I'll post it as a throwback.
You should. We'll link it. That would be really fun.
Okay, I will.
It's always good when you have this idea in your head about a celebrity. And it's funny you said you were starstruck because I've met some celebrities that have totally let me down. And I'm just like, you know what? Now I'm not even a fan because this was such a bad encounter. They ruin their own projects just because they're personally, and these are people that are
I've had that before.
Yeah?
I've had that before. Yeah.
It's not good.
Honestly. No.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Dance Moms. You choreographed a group dance for the girls that we talked about, but you've also done some individual pieces for dancers like Nia before, correct?
Yes.
So how did you get involved in doing an episode for the show? Like, how were you approached to be a part of it, and how did that all go down?
Well, I teach on a convention called Hollywood Connection, and we travel around the U.S.
Okay.
And we choreograph in different genres. So I teach jazz, and then there's other teachers that teach hip hop, tap, whatever. So I was teaching jazz, and one of the dancers that was on the show, not a main character on the show, but she was on like another team, like the BDA team. Her and her mom came up to me and said, "Hey, we are looking for a choreographer for the next episode that we're on for our team, and we would love to have you choreograph it because we just love your class. We love your energy. You're so funny, and we just want you to be a part of it." And I was like, okay. So I said, there I was. And I filmed the episode, which was very interesting. I feel like I still have anxiety from it.
Oh, no. So the show is true to life. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Okay. So many people say it's scripted. No, it's definitely not scripted. The producers will put in scenarios, like they will say, how do you feel that this person doesn't have the lead part in the group? And then they'll say, okay, go. Something like that. But it's definitely not scripted. Like, you're not given something to say. But the week was fine because I was just working with the kids. So, I mean, I had rare occasions talking to the parents and arguing, I guess, in quotes. But when we got to the competition and I had to compete my group against Abby's group, and I had to sit right behind Abby, that's when it got quite interesting because she tried to disqualify my group and tried to say that we didn't put our prop out in time when we had production from the show put our prop out, and it was just all for TV. Like, our prop was out in plenty of time. And so they tried to disqualify us. She was up screaming. The whole auditorium was screaming at Abby. I'm up. Oh, my gosh. It was insane. People were yelling across the auditorium. I was like, this would never happen at a dance competition.
So do you think that was for the cameras? I mean, she's obviously creating situations to make it more interesting to have people watch.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, like, that they were planning that, the producers. They were planning, okay, how can we, make this a big, because it was the very first episode back into season 6, I want to say it was. And so they were like, how can we make this juicy? And so they knew what they were doing. They knew that that's what they were going to do. So Abby's sitting there like, aren't they going to get points taken off? This is ridiculous. And oh my gosh, it was, and they didn't think they were going to let our group go on. And I was like, we've been rehearsing all week. We have to go on.
Oh my gosh.
Like, geez, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, Kristen, you're the first person from that show that I've gotten a chance to talk to. So I just have to ask this question. Why do you think the parents let their children, I know they're on TV, I know it's exposure, but still, I mean, to us as a viewing audience, I'm from the Midwest, I'm in Wisconsin, totally normal, like Midwest values and all that. I wouldn't let my kids be berated by her week after week. Why were they letting them do that?
I would say there's a couple of reasons. Number one, they're under a contract. So they sign a 5 to 7 season contract.
Okay.
So even if they want to leave, they can't leave, unless they have a really good attorney. Now, I'm sure there's ways out of that. You can find any way out of a contract, I'm sure.
Sure.
But, I think that by that point, I would say season 4, the show was the biggest it had ever been.
Right.
Everyone was talking about Dance Moms. And I think that the fame just got to everybody. I think that it was like, wow, the kids had millions and millions of followers. They were bombarded by fans. They were getting tons of money everywhere by merchandise, by ads, by
appearances,
everything.
Yeah.
And I think that it was just, they didn't know when to stop. And I think that the hate that they were getting was almost shielded by what they were getting in return.
Interesting.
And, I'm very good friends with Holly. I talk to Holly, Mia's mom, almost every day. She's one of my really good friends. And, they're still dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety from the show.
Wow.
Nia did not have a childhood. Nia was brought up on the show. She was there when she was 7 or 8 years old, and she is 16 years old now. So she lost her whole childhood, and I wouldn't say lost, because she definitely is, doing great, and she's on The Bold and the Beautiful now as a series regular, and as a recurring guest, I would say. And she's doing amazing. And you have to look at JoJo. JoJo Siwa is the dancer that's with Nickelodeon now.
Right.
And she has the bows. And, her team took that situation and flipped it into their own. They were like, okay, let's be smart about this. And I've never seen a team like it. I have never seen a team flip such a bad experience into something that was a multi-million-dollar change. Like, the girl is a full-on product and is making millions.
Yeah.
So, but then there's some of the other girls that I don't think they're doing much, So what was it worth? I don't know. Would I put my kid in that situation? Probably not.
Right.
They were leaving their husbands or their other kids for very long periods of time to be in LA after season 5, I think, when the show moved to LA. And I just don't know. Family is an important thing to me, and the values of being treated and talked to like that is just not necessary. I think Abby has a great meaning behind it. I just think it's not delivered in a great way. I think she means well. I think she has a soft side to her, but I do think that sometimes literally everything she's thinking, it just comes out.
Right.
And to a child, that's just not good.
Well, I was going to say, if you're still reeling from it, imagine what somebody who was on the show for 8 years is
absolutely
dealing
and that's
with.
That's what I say to people. I'm like, I still feel anxiety, and it's been years. I can't imagine doing it every single day. And they were with her all week. I only saw her just one day of the week, just that one day of the shooting.
Wow.
So it was just crazy, and it's just the energy. Just Abby is just so loud and takes up so much of the room, and just is just so powerful, and everything she does is just, it's almost like, it just reminds me of like Ursula. She just walks in and you're just like, okay, I'm sorry.
For sure, the mood of the room would change.
Yes,
no doubt.
Yes.
Now, I want to get to a couple more things. I know that you've got some traveling that you have to get to very soon. So
yeah, I have another interview to do.
You bet. And I want to talk about your clothing line in just a second. But before we do that, we got to ask our signature question for the show. On Fan Counters, one of the most, the hook of our show is the fact that we get to ask you, what are some encounters with your fans that stick out in your mind?
The fun ones are always, people that will, either dress up like me and they'll come and take class, and they're like, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And they dress like me. And, cause I have like a unique style, and, it's very quirky and fun and bright. And, very mismatched. Like, I don't try and match my clothes together. And so I feel like that's so cute. I just love when kids, like, that's just so means so much to me. They're like, oh, that's so adorable. I got a doll made of myself, which I don't know if that's really weird or...
Well, people make bobbleheads of themselves, so, I think we'll let that pass.
It was really nice, but it was also kind of weird. It so looks like me. It's on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
It looks exactly like me. It's so weird. And it was so nice. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. But it was just kind of weird. And then, I would say I get a lot of people that almost ask me out.
Really? Even though you're married?
Even though I'm married all the time. And they're like, we just follow you all the time, and we're such a fan of your work, and, we just want to know if we can take you out. And I'm like, I am married. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, we just want to know if we can just take you out for coffee, and I was like, no. I get a lot of those, actually. You would be surprised.
Wow.
Just messages in like social media, just random people that always just want me to meet up with them. I'm like, no.
Not happening, guys.
It's very weird.
You do have a unique style. Your large white rim glasses were very eye-catching. It was the first thing that I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you recently decided
I
to...
wear those all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Are they just for style, or they have lenses, like, they're...
No, they're prescription.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you recently decided to share your style with the world. You created Craze by Kristen, your own fashion line.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about what made you want to start it. Tell us what your website is and some of your favorite pieces.
So when I was younger, I was very opposite of, I guess, everybody in my family. My sister and my brother were very preppy, I guess I would say. They always liked the name brand. I always liked to almost make my own clothes and add pieces to another piece, or cut something and then add it and tie it to this piece. So even from a young age, I was always creating pieces without sewing. I still to this day have no idea how to sew. I would love to learn how to sew, but maybe someday.
Okay.
But so yeah, I've had so many people that are like, Kristen, I love the way you dress. Please style me. Even when I go on the carpet, people are like, who styled you? Who styled you? And I'm like, me.
Isn't that the best to be able to say? That's awesome.
Yeah, and all the time. And they're like, who styled you? I'm like, I did. And so it's a fun thing, because I guess at that point I was like, okay, maybe I should do something with this, because maybe this is a sign that I should, open it up to the world and share this. So I started out little with, shirts and pants and some jackets. And a lot of them have a positivity quotes on them and stars. I love stars. But a lot of them are just messages to be uplifted and to be positive, and to have not only it be for you, but to maybe inspire somebody else that may be walking by and read what's on your shirt and make a difference. And I'm all about, changing other people's lives. And if I changed or inspired one person that day, I know I did my job. And so that's something that I knew I wanted to create, in Craze. But I actually am going to be adding in the fall, I'm going to be adding custom pieces. And you'll probably see it on my Instagram. I've been wearing this new jacket with these peacock sleeves, and I get so many compliments everywhere I go. And they were like, where did you get that jacket? That was the most amazing jacket I've ever seen. And I was like, oh, I made it. And they were like, what? And so then at that point again, I was like, well, okay, maybe I should just add this to the line. And a funny story about this was I was on the airplane, and I always fall asleep on the airplane. I'm one of those people that right when I sit down, I'm out. So we landed and we were pulling up to the gate, and they were like, thank you so much for flying Southwest. Welcome to LAX. I don't remember where I was going, but they said, okay. Then they got off and they were like, okay, we forgot to tell you, it's actually give away a peacock jacket. So if you have a peacock jacket, just make sure you leave it at your chair, and one of your flight attendants will pick it up for you. So they wanted it. So I was sleeping and they wanted my jacket, I guess. They liked it. So everybody on the airplane was staring at me, and I was like, oh, hi.
Yeah, you're not getting the jacket, but good try. You know, Kristen, when I shop for my 6-year-old twin girls, my wife has pointed out that I always get them positive message shirts. So I did, before we leave, want to point out one piece in your collection that I really think you need to make in children's size, and it says, star in your own reality. Totally a necessary message for today. So are you going to maybe think about doing some kid sizes?
I actually do have kid sizes.
Oh, well, I totally missed that.
Yes, I actually do. I think that, you know, especially for the younger generation, especially in schools these days, that's definitely something that we need. Positivity. But yeah, I just feel like, you know, honestly, I just feel like social media is ruining our society, and I feel like it's draining these kids' confidence and images.
Right.
And I feel like we just need to get back into, you know, when I grew up, I mean, we didn't have anybody to compare ourselves to. You know, we thought what we dressed like and what we looked like was great, because who else were we going to look to compare it to? And now it's just, we're not enough. We're never enough, because there's always going to be somebody better than us. It's you know, and I always just feel like, you know, you're you, and you're going to be perfect the way you are. And, you're built the way you are because you're going to be an inspiration for somebody else. And I preach that all the time when I teach, that, you never know inspiring. So don't try and change who you are to try and be somebody else, because then you're not being you, and you're not being an inspiration for whoever's looking up to you. So, you know, there's so many people, and I have to be reminded of that myself. You know, there's so many people that I get messages all the time that are like, you're such an inspiration to me, and, you know, you're the reason why I started dancing. And I'm just like, wow, like I didn't even know that I played such a big part in people's lives. I just thought, you know, I just do my job every day, and I go and choreograph, and I go and work in film. And I didn't really know that so many people followed so closely to what I do. And I think that people don't realize that either, even if they're not in film and television. And I feel like it's so important for people to realize the importance of themselves and the value of what they have to give. And I feel like we just need to get back into that.
I applaud you for that, and for bringing that message to the young kids that you get to teach and work with each and every day. So tell us where we can find the clothes and where we can find you on social media.
My clothes are at crazedbykristen.com, and it's also on my website, KristinMcQuaid.com. And on Instagram, it's Kristen.McQuaid. And on Twitter, it's Kristen_McQuaid. And on Facebook, it's just Kristin McQuaid.
There you go. All right. Well, cool. Thank you so much for joining us today and telling us a little bit about
Thank you so much for having me.
Everything you've done. And we wish you all the best in the future. And, you know, if there's other projects that you want to come on for, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Our thanks to Kristin McQuaid for joining us on this week's show. See, that was a good one, right?
Yeah, really, really interesting stories.
Have you ever watched Dance Moms?
I haven't, but I have to tell you, as a dance mom, I can understand how crazy that world can become.
Especially in the competitive part of it. Like right now, my kids are just in classes where it's no big deal. You just show up and you do your thing and you leave. But when you're at these competitions, I could see things getting wildly out of hand.
Well, so far at the competitions that Lily has been at, as she dances her way through Irish dance fashanas, she has been doing pretty well. But again, we're just a beginner.
Right.
So we are not at really kind of like the big prize kind of thing. She's just thrilled they give her a ribbon or a little medal or something because she placed first, second, or third. But I can see the makeup and the hair and the just hours and hours and hours these dancers have put in and how competitive it can be.
Right. Now, I'm just finishing up my dance season because I do a lot of dance videos. And here's the one trend of this year. Every year there's a trend. Like 2 years ago, everybody used that song, Neverland, the Peter Pan song. I am a Lost Boy. That's what it was called. See, I had to sing it. Everybody used that. It was in every show. This year's trend is like talking wispily through songs. Like they're very depressing songs about self-awareness and depression and dealing with loss. And
these are dance recitals?
Yes, and these are ones that were these lyrical numbers. They're very heavy songs with like slow movements and stuff.
Okay.
Brings me to a story when we were working in radio. The general manager calls the radio station, and because the radio station had just played 6 slow songs in a row, and he calls in and he goes, "We need to change this programming right now." He goes, "I'm driving back from wherever, and I'm about to kill myself listening to this radio station."
Oh my God.
Because he was so mad all these slow songs were playing. But that's the trend this year, is these slow, depressing, very self-aware songs. So that's the trend this year in the dance world.
Yikes. And thank goodness Lily only dances to Irish jigs. So it's the same music over and over and over again.
All right, we went on a huge tangent. That's it for this week. You can find us online at Fancounters Live on both Twitter and Instagram. We have a huge following on Facebook. We hope you join us there as well. And if you'd like, you can email us comments, questions, concerns, or you can tell us to stop rambling by emailing hello@fancounters.com.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.